Welcome back to Optimize Health, where we're making easy, healthy, and delicious meals. Today we are continuing on a series of weight loss support videos. We are going to be covering a lesser known biohacking options for unavoidable ingredients that may be sabotaging your health and your weight loss goals. We are going to talk about uric acid, fructose, glucose, and added salt. Most people already know you should talk to your doctor, healthcare provider, or veterinarian to see if any of these recipes, suggestions, or contents of these videos are right for you. Nothing contained in these videos are intended to be taken as medical advice. Use at your own risk. A little bit about why fructose can be a problem. We're aware that in the context of high fructose corn syrup, this is an additive in so many foods and many processed foods. Our body can only handle so much fructose in a day, or it's our liver that's going to be processing fructose. And once we go beyond that 20-gram daily limit, approximately, I'm sure there's some individual variation there, then that additional fructose is going to be stored as fat, typically stored as fat in the liver, and the liver cannot store a lot of fat. It's not really designed for that. So having fructose day in and day out and in multiple meals is certainly a huge contributing factor to the metabolic disease rates in Western culture. Also, maybe lesser known problem with fructose is that it's key also in degenerative diseases, but fructose is going to block the metabolism of the mitochondria directly. So it basically prevents your body from optimally metabolizing food. The other component on the list that we had just gone through that also blocks metabolism is uric acid. And uric acid can be formed in the presence of high fructose. So I'm going to go kind of through a few points here to explain how all of these compounds tie together. They're commonly either additives to foods or they're things our body creates in the presence of certain, common ingredients in our diets. So we're going to address how this is an issue, and then I'm going to try to make this video a little more shorter in length and continue in a second edition for some options for how to actually prevent these problems. So we also know that fructose is also found in fruit and in its natural form. Usually in most fruits like an apple, a pear, a peach, you're going to find maybe 5 to 10 grams per serving of fruit, and that's also going to come with fiber and bioflavonoids, vitamin C, and all these compounds, the fiber, the bioflavonoids, vitamin C, are going to help decrease and mitigate any issues that you're going to get from fructose consumption. But don't forget, moderate consumption of fruit may be okay, particularly in the summer, particularly when you're optimizing your natural sun exposure along with vitamin D, getting enough of that, whether it's through the sun or if you don't know your levels, maybe you're supplementing just to make sure you have that covered. The body is able to better process fruits and fructose in the presence of things like having optimal vitamin D levels. But also in nature, many animals like bears are going to go out and eat a bunch of fruit in the mid to late summer and early fall, and then they're going to be ready to hibernate. And that's sort of Mother Nature's way of helping animals put on body fat and then lower their metabolism so that they can survive the winter. We're not much different. Our metabolic structures and the mitochondria are very similar. It's a very old and conserved process through a lot of different animal species. So we're not necessarily designed to be consuming a lot of fruit. And people may have arguments with that, but that's how it is. That just seems to be how it is. The research is showing, and seeing how harmful fructose can be in too high of a quantity over day in and day out, that it certainly does seem to be a good theory that lines up with our health outcomes. So also we need to talk about uric acid, which it's created in our bodies from consuming things like red meat, alcohol, and again, fructose and glucose. And uric acid is linked to more than 30% increase in risk of stroke, hypertension, and heart attack, other cardiovascular diseases as well. And this is because uric acid actually, along with glucose, is another very common element in our diet and you can't get away from, is that they constrict blood vessels by way of blocking nitric oxide production. So glucose and uric acid are going to block the blood vessels' ability to create the nitric oxide, which allows them to dilate and have good flow of blood. This constriction can increase the risk of developing clots in the blood vessels. When that happens in the brain or heart, or there's a lot of important things in the body. Any of these areas that are going to have blood vessel clots can be significant damage and potentially death, lethal outcome from the first time it happens. So there's actually studies out there now showing there's a linear relationship to showing how much glucose is in the blood, directly correlating to how much those blood vessels constrict down. And it's pretty wild. We also do need nitric oxide production. It's produced in the blood vessels. We also need that to have insulin sensitivity throughout the body to allow our body to actually process the glucose that we intake. So all of these things kind of connect together, and optimal health is going to require addressing everything here. The last thing I wanted to cover is why dietary salt or increased salt in the blood, which can come from dehydration, so either from consuming more salt or not having enough fluids and getting blood concentrated from being dehydrated. Relatively in the blood, it's going to look like there's more salt. This creates a process in the body that converts glucose to fructose. So it's not just what we eat out, from outside of the body, but within our own body, there are mechanisms metabolically that will convert glucose to fructose. Again, this is part of a survival mechanism that's been conserved, over generations, and we're just being so, like having everything, access to everything that we might need. We don't go through these sort of challenges that the ancestors most likely did. So in our next video, I hope that you'll check out some easy daily habits to help prevent these metabolic sabotage of compounds that we can't really avoid from either ingesting or our body kind of creating them. So let us know what you think. Please like, share, subscribe, comment on anything else we could cover or any questions you have, and we'd be happy to do another segment. Thanks.